An American couple have been awarded a $56 million settlement in court from eBay. David and Ina Steiner suffered enormous harassment, stalking and worse from senior staff at the company because those at eBay did not like their reporting on their blog. The Sunday Times senior US correspondent Louise Callaghan joins us now. Hello to you, Louise.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm well, and thanks for joining us, Louise. This is such a shocking case of corporate misconduct, isn't it, within this company, eBay, which has a household name around the world?
Yeah, it's absolutely extraordinary. And it's been a 7-year battle from the Steiners, this couple, to try and get some element of justice and restitution. And then so after fighting against eBay for 7 years, last week they got this huge payout, basically over $50 million, of which around 46 million goes to them. And eBay has apologized and they've said that this was a work of rogue employees. But when you nail down into the story, it's clear that there is a pattern of real misconduct here at eBay.
Yeah, I expect eBay did apologise after what we're talking about now happened. And just take us through some of this. This couple, they were users of eBay. They set up a blog and commented on eBay. And those at eBay, these people, they didn't like what they were writing, to the extent they absolutely persecuted this couple in the most appalling way. Just take us through some of the frankly gory details.
So David and Ina Steiner were running this well-respected but fairly small trade publication supporting people who sold things on sites like eBay. And as you say, the execs didn't like it because they pointed out things that they didn't like about the site. The way that so the execs at eBay told the internal security team, sort this out. They weren't specific, but they said, take her down, referring to Ina Steiner. And so the people within the internal security department at eBay did something then quite extraordinary. They started this large-scale harassment campaign where they sent a pig fetus, they sent live cockroaches in the post, they sent subscriptions to underage porn magazines and sent them to their neighbors in the name of this couple. They put out posts online saying sex parties available at this address, come and knock anytime. I mean, it was really just extraordinary, the level of harassment. The security team turned up there in person at their house and planned to attach a tracker to their car. And in the end, I mean, the only reason why this was revealed, and that's kind of the extraordinary thing, was because this couple, they're journalists, so they started logging these attacks. They were terrified. I mean, they didn't know who it was. They thought it was, some kind of disgruntled seller, or, there could have been someone they knew. It was only when they started reporting on their own harassment and taking pictures of the cars following them and things like that they managed to trace it via the police to the fact that these were eBay employees.
Yes. The treatment that was meted out to this couple was obscene. It was sadistic, and it went on for years. And but in the background, as you say, Louise, there was sort of corporate communications which showed high-ranking officials just sort of egging this on, just wanting to visit appalling punishment on this couple for doing in all innocence what they thought was a perfectly reasonable thing to do.
So executives have said as part of their legal defense that they had no idea that any of this was going on. And they say these texts when they're calling on their employees to take her down as being part of a PR strategy. They didn't mean it literally. But what's very clear is that the people in the internal security team did take this extremely literally. Yeah. And they threatened the Steiners with their lives. And the Steiners told me, and when I spoke to them last week, that they really were. They were so afraid. They didn't. This wasn't a few mean messages scrawled on on an online discussion board. These were people turning up at their house and threatening them with their lives.
Yes. And now they were security department officials, weren't they? The ones who were at the sharp end of this persecution. Is it 7 of them who now were sentenced to jail time?
Yeah, so 7 of them were hit with criminal charges of various lengths. And the extraordinary thing is that these executives who were in communication with the security department, who were sending these texts saying, take her down, even though they're saying they meant it in a sort of metaphorical way. The CEO who was in charge at that time, he left with a $60 million golden handshake.
Yes, yes. And the company itself. Yeah, I'm just briefly, and really grateful to you for sharing this story with us. And what about the company itself? Clearly they're showing a lot of contrition for what these staffers did.
Yeah, absolutely. eBay's apologized. They said that no one should have to go through it, but the way that they've framed it is the work of a rogue employee, and that's not the way that the Steiners see it. They say that this was a corporate culture coming from the top down, where executives, despite all their millions and despite all their power, are so unbelievably thin-skinned that they would be so bothered by what this small trade publication is writing about them. And this was just normal reporting that the Steiners were doing. They weren't going out there defaming the CEO of eBay. They were writing these, balanced, well-researched pieces about, how much is he getting paid, and, what difficulties are sellers encountering on their sites, things like that.
Oh, what an astonishing story. Louise Callaghan, thank you. Louise Callaghan at the Sunday Times with that.